Hi everyone, my name is Nidia Duarte, and today I'm going to tell you what functional language is for giving advice. At the end of this micro-teaching class, you will be able to help, support, and advise. This is the Bosque School. This is the place where I work every day. It is located in Soacha, and this micro-teaching class is for my students from 11th grade. First of all, I want to tell you what functional language is and why it is important. Then I will explain how to give advice emphasizing on the environment care because it is the main topic that we are working. In this micro-teaching class, students will have the opportunity to understand and practice offering advice for kids and teenagers from other schools in Soacha, taking into account the environment care as the main topic. My aim is building reading comprehension and advice-giving skills focused on modal verb should and modal ought to. Also, using the expression if I were you, understanding the different uses. Well, let's start. Functional language is language that we use to perform various functions, such as giving advice, apologizing, or expressing opinion. It uses fixed expressions for each function. It's important because the functional language lets facilitate the communication cycle. Now, let's talk about giving advice. It refers to when we tell other people what we think could help them. Giving advice in English might seem tricky at first, however, it's not impossible. There are several ways to do it. So, the question is, how do we choose which one to use? Let's talk about 3 situations. Number 1. Using a modal verb. Remember, modal verbs help qualify a verb by saying what a person can, may, should, or must do as well as might happen. The most common way to give advice is by using the modal verb should or ought to. Both mean the same, but work in slight different ways. If you can see 2 pictures, you make some examples. Number 1. You should plant some trees. If you notice, after should, we use an infinitive without to. And the grammar structure is subject plus should plus base verb. It's common to use should to give negative advice, in this case at not. For example, you can say, you should not waste water. Notice that the contraction of should not is shouldn't. Unlike should, we always use to with the second modal verb for giving advice. The example is, you ought to plant some trees. Second situation. Put yourself in the person's position. If someone is asking for your advice, sometimes it's useful to imagine yourself being in that person's position. This is a good way to explain your advice too. In this case, use the second conditional using the expression, if I were you. Remember, to use an infinitive after would and not to. If you make negative sentences, put not after would. Example. If I were you, I would not cut trees. If I were you, I would recycle. The second conditional uses the past simple after if, then would and the infinitive. We can use were instead was with I and he, she, and it. The third situation is advice in a stronger way. Sometimes you need to make your advice stronger to let the listener know that is really, really important. We can use the expressions, you had better to do this. For example, you had better care the planet before it disappears. Now, look at the pictures and give advice to kids and teenagers about environment care. This is the activity for today. For instance, look at the picture and make a sentence. Maybe, you had better recycle or the planet will be contaminated. In this part, you are going to find some pictures. And with these pictures, you are going to make some sentences. Here, there are more expressions for giving advice. Number 1. I really think you need to, must, should. Second, how about? Third, it is usually a good idea too. Fourth, my advice is to. Fifth, why don't you? Sixth, you could try. Seventh, you really should. Eighth, in my experience, works really well. To finish my presentation, I want to tell you, using this expression in English conversations makes you sound more natural and it lets facilitate the communication cycle. So, let's start to practice. And remember, take the good advice of the people around us. This is all for today. Thank you and goodbye.